so people can get in and get out really quickly.
It is election day for some people in Palm Beach and Broward counties. We're going to tell you everything you need to know to make sure your vote counts in the 20th Congressional District.
There are a number of bills that we call red meat for the base, culture war bills.
Plus, the governor is pushing his Republican agenda in the legislative session. The big topics on the table that have Florida lawmakers divided.
And a drier start out there this morning and a little bit cooler also. We'll take a closer look at your nice day ahead.
You're watching CBS 12 News This Morning.
It's a nice day ahead, but it is a windy day here in South Florida. Good morning, I'm Matt Lincoln.
And I'm Sam Kerrigan in for Ashley Glass. I think I prefer the wind over the rain, though.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Let's check in with meteorologist Lauren Oleski for how things are looking.
Yeah, not too bad out there for us this morning, guys. We've got some rain off the coast. Most of that should probably stay offshore, but we've got a north to northeast wind today, so that's going to allow the possibility of some tiny showers to pop up. It is cooler than yesterday morning, but we're going to see a bigger jump in the temperatures by the end of this week. We've got another blast of cold air coming in. 62 degrees in Wellington and Indiantown right now. Port St. Lucie's down to 59, 60 in Vero right now. You can see the wind coming in slightly off of the water there. That's pulling some moisture onshore at times through the day, also making for some rougher conditions at the beaches. Winds right now are sustained between 5 and 10 miles per hour. We've had gusts so far today at 23 miles per hour for Vero and Stewart. We had an 18 mile per hour gust in Okeechobee. Winds will stay elevated through the remainder of the morning and through pretty much the remainder of the day. 10:15 this morning, winds out of the northeast sustained at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Heading into the afternoon, same thing. It's just a very, very breezy one out there for us for the next couple of days. Tonight, 10 o'clock, still dealing with a strong wind out there. Winds could calm down just a touch for us heading into your Wednesday, but we will likely see another round of rain moving in before we get drier and colder for the end of the week. We'll talk more about that still ahead. Matt, Sam.
All right, thanks, Lauren. Both hands on the wheel as you head out for that drive this morning. It is shaping up nicely so far in West Palm Beach. Traffic Tracker 12 heading north on I-95 right now, and we are not seeing any issues out there on our major highways.
In just hours, a big day for politics in the Sunshine State kicks off.
Yeah, voters will head to the polls to fill the late Alcee Hastings seat for South Florida's 20th Congressional District.
And thousands of bills will be up for debate for Florida's 2-month legislative session. We got team coverage on this morning. Kara Duffy at the live desk to break down some of the controversial topics lawmakers are going to be debating in the weeks to come.
But we want to start with CBS 12's Terry Hornstein live at the Supervisor of Elections office in West Palm Beach this morning. And Terry, there's a lot at stake for this election in our area.
Hey, good morning. You know, this district, very large, stretches from parts of Broward County, the Margate area, all the way up through Palm Beach County and Riviera Beach. And it's a very heavily Democrat-leaning area historically. So the big question this morning, will a Democrat fill Alcee Hastings' vacant seat today after the election? So let's take a look at the candidates who are on the ballot if you are heading to the polls. The first one, a Democrat, is Sheila Sherfalis McCormick. She is the Democrat running for this seat. There's also Jason Mariner. He's the Republican. Mike Termott, a Libertarian. Leonard Sarator and Jim Flynn are both not affiliated with a party. They are also running. Now, anyone who lives in the 20th Congressional District can cast their ballot for this very important race. The Supervisor of Elections says she hopes people head to the polls today to fill this seat.
We're only at about maybe a little over 8.25% turnout so far. So we are really hoping we'll get a lot of people.
If you need to drop off a mail-in ballot, you need to do it at one of the 4 elections offices in the county. That ballot needs to be in by the time polls close today. Just make sure you do that if you are heading out to turn in that mail-in ballot. You can also print out a sample ballot if you are heading to the polls in person today. Now the polls open in just about an hour actually at this point at 7 a.m. this morning. They will close at 7 p.m. tonight. As long as you're in line by 7 p.m., you will be able to vote in this election. Make sure you bring with you a photo ID to cast that ballot. Matt and Sam.
All right, good stuff there, Terry. And in just hours, Florida lawmakers will gather in Tallahassee to open a 2-month legislative session.
Yeah, Governor Ron DeSantis is pushing his political agenda with his re-election campaign underway.
And our team coverage continues now with Kara Duffy at the live desk. Kara, there are thousands of bills here on the table, and many of them are controversial among lawmakers.
That's right, Matt. Sam, this session will largely be shaped by the governor's agenda as he appeals to his Republican base with items like critical race theory, abortion rights, and elections. Let's start off with critical race theory. That's the idea that racism is embedded in American institutions. The governor wants to ban the teaching of critical race theory in schools and workplaces with his Stop Woke Act. You may remember the State Board of Education approved that rule last year. Another big topic, of course, abortion. As the nation waits to see if the U.S. Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade, Republican lawmakers could consider placing additional restrictions on abortions. While the exact details are still unclear, Republican lawmakers have signaled support for Texas-style abortion restrictions just a few months back. And finally, elections, also a very heated topic. Last year, lawmakers passing a controversial elections bill. And it included placing restrictions on voting by mail. Now, Governor DeSantis wants to take additional steps like creating a state office that would investigate election-related crimes. He has also expressed the need and wants to raise the criminal penalties for a practice dubbed as ballot harvesting. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of Democratic lawmakers not so happy about these policies. Take a listen.
What we can expect from Republicans in this session will be culture wars that distract us from the real issues at hand.
All Floridians, regardless of your background, your ethnicity, or creed, you all have a seat at the table. And that we should not be alienating people and finding so-called boogeymen to distract us from reality. We want to focus on issues that help all Floridians.
All right, and a few other things to be on the lookout for: redrawing the lines of maps for congressional districts. That ultimately will decide who stays and who goes in politics. Of course, a lot of work ahead for lawmakers. We will be keeping a very close eye on all of this over the next 2 months. Matt, Sam.
All right, Karen, also happening today, the governor will deliver his State of the State address. It starts at 11 o'clock this morning, and you can watch it live online at CBS12.com or by downloading our free CBS 12 News app.
6:07 is now the time. Let's turn to the pandemic now. The unprecedented rise in pediatric COVID cases. Data just released by the American Academy shows that the pediatric cases have nearly tripled since the end of December. They are now by far exceeding the numbers from any other variants. There are now more than 580,000 cases among kids. That is a 78% increase from the previous week. Right now, hospitalizations are up nearly 40% from last week, pushing hospitals to the brink. About 25% of hospitals are now reporting a critical staffing shortage.
Well, this morning, new research shows about 80% of Floridians will catch the Omicron variant before this wave of infections is over. Researchers at the University of Florida are expecting the peak of the wave to hit in the coming days, with a record-breaking 90,000 new cases a day. And some experts are surprised by how quickly this highly contagious variant is spreading.
This variant really sort of changed things up in terms of how quickly people become infectious. And that's causing the growth to be much more extreme.
Researchers expect many of the cases will be mild or even asymptomatic. They also predict hospitalizations and deaths will be lower than they were during the Delta surge in the summer.
And some good news for those looking to get tested at home and avoid some of those long wait times at testing sites. At-home COVID-19 tests will now be free with insurance starting on Saturday. The Biden administration is requiring private insurance companies and group health plans to cover 8 over-the-counter tests per month per person. That cost will either be covered upfront or by filing a reimbursement plan.
And this morning, drug companies are hard at work to fight off the Omicron variant. Pfizer CEO says the production of doses for an Omicron-specific vaccine is already underway. And if all goes well, the company hopes to have the vaccine ready in March. Meanwhile, Moderna CEO says the company is working on a vaccine booster that targets Omicron. That booster should enter clinical trials soon and is expected to be ready this fall.
Well, this morning, we are still waiting for a Supreme Court decision on President Biden's vaccine mandate for large employers to come down. The first stage of the mandate took effect yesterday. It requires masks for unvaccinated workers at companies with 100 or more employees. Those companies also have to keep records on the vaccination status of workers. The Supreme Court is still deciding if OSHA has the authority to require vaccination or weekly testing. If the federal rules are upheld, companies that fail to enforce the mandate could face fines.
Time right now is 6:09, and still ahead this morning, authorities are revealing new details about the death of actor and comedian Bob Saget. We're breaking down the findings in the report and listening to newly released 911 calls.
Plus, Brightline will run empty trains from West Palm Beach to Cocoa, but coming up, we will tell you how close we are to being able to ride the high-speed rail up and down our coast. You're watching CBS 12 News this morning, the one to turn to.